Everything we talk about and do as humans come down to one pursuit: superiority. All of our debates are about which knowledge is superior, even though many times we don't know that. We don't realize that. There is no equality or equity in society without the fact of superiority. In fact, what we have that we call cultural ideals are so because we agree to a large extent that certain practices are better than some, are better than other practices in advancing life and living in a way that makes people better and replenishes creation through successive generations. Superiority of human civilization is therefore the ability of humankind to produce thriving longevity, lasting goodness, and achieve transcendence, go beyond ourselves in purpose, both on an individual and on a community level. Superiority begs the question, what makes one knowledge superior to the other? To answer that, we have to admit two key realities. Fact number one: mankind is a three-part being: spirit, soul, and body. Fact number two: that three-part being, that three-part design means that we all have a purpose for which our form was carefully put together. Intelligence is therefore superior if it can aid the full and accurate exploration of existence and reality by the human spirit as it was designed to. Intelligence is superior if it can enable the full and accurate operation of the human soul as it was designed to. Intelligence is therefore superior if it enables the human body to fulfill its created purpose in service to the soul, which is in turn in service to the human spirit. Let me give an example of intelligence that may seem to be popular and yet is inferior. Not superior, inferior. Let's say, for instance, a food manufacturer adds a substance to baby food, and that substance has been known and proven to be harmful. We can no longer call that food. Why? The function of food is to nourish and to give pleasure to the consumer. That's its function in nature. In this context, nourishment and pleasure should not be mutually exclusive. The presence of one should not be to the detriment of the other. So the point here is the intelligence to add toxins to food is not only inferior, we can call it evil. That is tainted food, and in fact, holistically, it can no longer be called food. But the manufacturer may think that they have arrived at some superior intelligence at which to beat the market, fool the consumers, deceive government agencies that are supposed to find out their wrongdoings, etc., etc. So when we pursue knowledge, we must ask, when we seek out intelligence, we need to ask the question, who started this? Who invented this? Who supplied the first knowledge about this? What was or is their motive? And who is that personality? And who are they representing if they're not representing themselves? And can they be trusted to guide the spirits and souls and bodies of all of humankind to live as intended and fulfill our greatest potential? Can this intelligence answer the questions that are raised by the deepest yearnings of the hearts of people? What are the traits and what is the character of the founder of this knowledge, the originator of this intelligence? Why should we believe and accept this knowledge as something to live by? These are all questions that science and technology and philosophy fail to answer. And they are key questions that must be answered. And why do they fail? Because they misplace the order of quest. In objectifying or in objects, they say it is X. And then they ask, wouldn't you agree? Now, that is a bias that seeks to assert that the unknown and the answer is X because they want it to be X. I think it's a lazy way. On a soul level, it's lazy. On a spiritual level, it's evil. A smarter approach will be to ask, what is it? And then within all of the legal ambits, we explore the possibilities, even if the answer will take scores of generations, even if we're not going to like what we find. But it is what it is. Rather simple, isn't it? Again, modern science, technology, and philosophy in subjects this time focus on power, not on character. Who is he? Is a galactically far greater and more advanced question than what can he do? The question of who makes the question of why make sense. For instance, if we want to answer the question of which faith is the way, the truth that all men should follow, we must examine all the voices, if we must, that have presented themselves as God or founders of some faith or the belief systems which we now in an organized form call religion. We must examine, put those voices to the test, look at them critically, see who they are, their origin, their first appearance, their character, their tenets, the reasons for those tenets, question everything. This way, we will have a deep and long exploration to engage. Something that we can at least be satisfied that we did investigate. And if you're honest with yourself, one of the first truths you will find is that if you are onto the real God, you will realize that you need several lifetimes, actually an eternity, to come to begin to scratch the surface of communion with such an intelligence. You will find out that there are higher metrics than time, that there is a metric that is called light, and there is a metric that is called authority, and there is a metric that is called grace. And these are metrics that do not originate in this mortal realm that we call earth. And because we have a human spirit, remember the beginning of this discourse, there are greater things that cry out to your human being. And this process of engaging communion with such an intelligence, such superior intelligence, is called revelation. And if you are onto the true God, you will find three key things. Number one, you will find that superior intelligence is not far from you, but you can only contact God with your spirit. Secondly, you will find that your soul has many limitations in interacting with superior intelligence because we are fallen as mankind. We are in such a condition that we cannot tune into and operate on the frequency that communicates with superior intelligence without aid. Thirdly, you will find that your body, your appetites, are programmed to do evil because mankind is falling. And in fact, it is in what I call the death fall. It's not just falling, F-A-L-L-E-N. It is falling, F-A-L-L-I-N-G. Present progressive state of decay and deterioration. And your soul, left to its devices, will help you fall faster. And you will find that the biggest problem with us is pride. And it sponsors a unique kind of laziness that makes us have, that manifests as a symptom that I call a quick answer fever. We want answers now. Even if it should take 300 years, we want the answer right now. Even if it should take 7.5 years of rigorous search, we want it right now. So we stumble through the darkness, trying to lay hands on anything that we can lay and call it wisdom. We call it intelligence. You want to arrive at a conclusion after 3 years of expert research and rigorous peer review by a bunch of people with similar visual impairment, and hope for a few $1 billion as proof of a good work that you have done. Maybe top it off with a Nobel Peace Prize or two and boast that you have arrived. Arrived. Mankind is falling. And just as cancer is a growth, the thing with a fall is that it's also an arrival. Seek superior intelligence. Break the fall.